In this video, I create this soft glam look, and it's the first piece of a segment that I'm working on called Back to the Basics, where we talk about basic beauty knowledge and common mistakes. So let's do this look. As you can see, I'm pretty fresh faced. I just did my eyebrows. I have on a little bit of skin prep, but we are going to get started. So real quick, I wanted to talk about soft glam because it's one of my favorite types of looks. I literally just finished my hair, by the way, so it's kind of fluffy and all over the place. Soft glam for me is like a step above the no makeup look. So I feel like a lot of people get confused on what soft glam really is. So right now we're gonna dive into what it is and then also how to achieve it. Okay, so soft glam, if you're not familiar, is a subtle, diffused, soft way to approach makeup. Pretty much the way it differs from regular glam is that it is softer as far as when you see it with your eyes. You can't see any harsh lines. You can't even tell makeup is there. It's a step above no makeup. So pretty much you want to think about it having all of the same things as traditional glam, but without it being noticeable, if that makes sense. So right now I already have my brows on. I did a little bit of the Kevyn Aucoin brow pencil. I'm on a Kevyn Aucoin brow. For the soft glam, I like to do a little bit of sketching with the brows. You guys know I love little brow pens like this. This is the one from Ardell Beauty, which is a little bit like a warm brown. And then I also have one from Kevyn Aucoin here, which is a dark brown. So this one's a little bit richer. I'm probably gonna use this one right now. I don't wanna add too much depth to the brow, just a little bit of definition as far as little tiny flicks. So you see how I'm just kind of flicking the hairs in the way that the brow hairs naturally grow? That's pretty much what you wanna do when you're approaching a product like this. You wanna take it on an angle and pull and flick. When people at home try to achieve a soft glam look, the way that they go wrong is that they don't take it far enough. So it's a very fine line between no makeup and soft glam. So you kind of have to know where to push it and where to take it back, where it's not too glam and overly done. So that's what we're going to focus on today. So for complexion, you want to work in thin layers. I'm going to use the YSL. I used this in stories the other day. This is the Bare Look Tint. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful finish. You also want to make sure you have color correctors. If you ever feel like your complexion looks cakey, 9 times out of 10, you've over powdered or you've used too much full coverage in areas where you did not need it. So I'm doing a little bit of color correction. This is the lip tinted little sticks. This one is called Found. I go between Found and Balance. Just depends on, you know, how deep the color correction is. I'll show you what Balance looks like. This is Balance. Balance is a little bit lighter. I like to use that under my eyes, actually. So before I started this live, I prepped my skin a little bit of hyaluronic acid, my By Terry Global Face Cream that I like, and then also some eye balm, and I used the Ready Steady Glow tonic from Ren. So prepping your skin, very important before you start putting on any complexion products. And then you want to go in and make sure that you blend everything step by step. That's how you stay ahead of the game, right? So you don't want to end up trying to see, oh, did I blend that? Did I make sure that the eyeshadow doesn't look too splotchy? You want to blend as you go. See how I'm just kind of tapping certain areas? Wherever I color corrected, I just want to lightly blend it out, but not moving it too much from that area where I need it to be. This is probably my deepest blemish, which is why I have that darker, like more reddish tone here. And I like to just stay and tap on top of it versus blending it out too much. That way the coverage is good. Also a little trick sheet, cheat sheet, is this concealer from NARS, the Soft Matte. Oh my God. This is Amande. Amande, I like to take on the fluffy side of this brush and I'll just splotch it over that color correction. Sometimes I'll add powder over the color corrector, but for this look, I really don't need to because I'm just spot treating it. And then I'm going to put a little bit of foundation over it. So Amande, as you can see, blends in really nicely with my complexion. Everyone should have a concealer that is a cream, semi-matte finish that melts into your skin. This is something that you can use to spot correct any stubborn blemishes, and then you can use less full coverage makeup over your entire face. Pretty much I could literally put a powder foundation on this and go out, and this would be a no makeup look, but we're going to take it to the next step. This is the NARS Soft Matte Concealer. We're going to take it to the next step to make sure that you're still giving that glam, that glamness. So the foundation I chose for this one is the YSL Bare Look Tint, because I used it the other day and it just looks so beautiful on. I'll also do a recap and stories of the products that I use with links so you guys can click on it, read more about it, because I'm not going to have time to like go through ingredients or anything. But this one is a beautiful, beautiful finish. Once you do that color correction and spot treatments, your skin is going to look flawless. You've already perfected any imperfections. And now it's about taking it a step further and making it look more glamorous. So with the skin tint, you saw that I put a little bit on my cheeks, which is where I have the most kind of texture that shows through. So I want to make sure that it looks really smooth. And then I blend it out to the other areas. You don't need to put a lot of foundation on your face. Oh my God, first of all, okay, Megan asked me YSL tint versus Shiseido tint and Tower 28 tint. Tower 28, Shiseido, and YSL tints are my favorites at the moment, honestly. Such a beautiful finish. They go on very buttery and creamy. And I really love the fact that they work for women of color and non-women of color. Sometimes when it comes to complexion products, you kind of have to pick which ones you use on certain types of complexions because they don't melt in the same and they don't look as natural, but those finishes look beautiful on everyone. That's a great question. Okay, so complexion is on. This is what I call the bare base, and then now you want to go in and add definition. Another mistake that people make when they're doing like a soft glam look at home, sometimes you just don't know how to keep it simple. You have to honestly take a step back and keep it simple when it comes to soft glam. You want to pick neutral shades that are complementary to your complexion. When you start putting on eyeshadow and blush and lip colors, you want to pick things that are going to come across as like a very natural, soft approach to what should be on your face, if that makes sense. So this is the Beauty. I love this stick. This is one of my favorites right now. I used to use the Fenty stick all the time, but I've been really loving this one. I like to put it on like that directly to my skin, so I use less product. And I actually keep it in my kit too. If it makes it to the kit, it's official, because one thing about it, I'm not going to use anything on my clients that I do not trust. Do a little bit of that where I bring down that contour shade to kind of give me that more angular face. This brush is a Kevyn Aucoin brush. This is called their contour brush. But notice when I place the contour, I kind of blended it up versus blending it down. I want to make sure that this area doesn't get too murky with warmth or depth of color, because then it's just going to look like a shadow or like a hollow of the cheek where I really want to lift the face and not make it look sunken in. Doing the same thing over here. Kind of think about it coming from like this point of your ear. If you have a similar face shape as I do, I have a heart-shaped face. And then you want to go in and tap and blend. You always want to blend your contour in tapping motions, because if you do like this swishing around, it's just removing any coverage that you've already built, like, you know, that color correction we did before. So you want to make sure you're just tapping to blend versus swooshing and blending and making everything kind of muddy. Gonna do a little bit more of that here. Honestly, complexion is my favorite. I wish I had more time. Maybe we'll do like a longer live one day where we only talk about complexion. We can really dive into like why I use certain things and certain ingredients. I'm doing a little bit of that same shade along the bridges of my nose. So with the nose, I'll go back and grab a smaller brush. I would do this with a bigger brush, but I want you guys to be mindful at home that the brushes you use kind of help or hinder how things get worked on the face. So I'm using the smaller brush to be more controlled. This is a Kjaer Weis brush. And I'm just literally tapping it, same thing, going to the brow. I always like to bring my contour up to the brow and then bring it to the tip of the nose. but keeping this little bridge part right here open. I don't like to put concealer here because then it just looks like a highlight spot. I like to kind of use shadows and light in different ways, where like I'm using my natural complexion shade to become a highlight versus putting concealer there. So same thing, just kind of tapping it really good. Comments are failing to post. Oh no. I see this one, so I don't know what's going on. Lives are kind of weird sometimes. This brush is their buffer concealer brush. I always use brushes for whatever I want to, but you know, it's an angular kind of tapered brush, which is nice for something like this. Just tapping it in. Another trick when you do a soft glam look, steal that contour shade and just pop it in your crease. It's going to look amazing, honestly, especially if you're using a warmer contour. If you're using something more like a shadow, a cooler tone, you may not want to do this all over your crease, maybe just a little pocket here. But if you're doing a warmer shade or like your version of your bronzer shade, you can totally pop it in your crease. And it's already going to look like a little eye moment. Revlon sent me these 5-in-1 concealers. This is the ColorStay Skin Awaken. First of all, guys, you know I'm bougie when it comes to complexion products. This is an amazing complexion product at a drugstore brand. And I'm honestly kind of in love with it. So normally I would just stay at this shade, but I'm going to add a little bit of a brighter tone. This is number 70 from that Revlon. I'm going to add a little bit of number 60. My skin type is combination, oily in the T-zone, very sensitive, and acne prone. So you see how number 60 looks? It brightens it up a tad bit more. So when I say sometimes when you're at home and you do your makeup, like you have an inspiration and you look at the picture and you do your makeup and then you're like, I don't look anything like this picture. 9 times out of 10, it's because you haven't taken it far enough. Maybe you're too afraid to go a little bit deeper with your contour shade. You're a little bit afraid to go a little bit brighter with that highlight under your eye. Those things make a huge difference once you blend it out on the skin. So you have to take it a step further. Not all the way, but like 1 shade lighter. If you feel like you're losing that like definition and like glam filling, try those 2 things. So you see how I'm just kind of buffing that around the eye, not going too close to the lash line, because once you go close to the lash line, it's just like, okay, this product's just gonna sit in the face and you really don't need that much coverage at your lash line. If you have really dark circles, color correct first and use less product. Sometimes when you're doing a soft glam look and then maybe you have taken it a bit further than your comfort zone was, and then you feel like your makeup looks a little bit cakey, sometimes you're using too much powder and too much full coverage complexion products. It could be concealer, it could be a full coverage foundation. You're using it all over your face versus spot treating your face. That goes for powder and full coverage products. Whenever you're doing a soft glam look, the easiest way to make it look really beautiful and subtle and not look cakey is to be very strategic about where you place your powder and how you use full coverage complexion products. So already my face looks lifted, it looks brightened, it looks like, okay, she's ready, she's going somewhere. I need to blend this little section right here. I like to blend that with my fingers so it doesn't look like, oh, you know, she definitely did that with a brush and it looks like a stripe. I like to just take my fingers and kind of mess it up, have it look a little bit imperfect. See how this is? It's like reading bronzer. If you wanted to take it a bit further, if you see in photos like, okay, I look like I need a little bit more makeup on, you want to go ahead and take something like this. This is what I call my shadow shade. I like to take my shadow shade and do like 1 little dip, boop, and then take a separate brush and blend that out. That way it's going to give you that little spot you need for your face to read more glam in photos. When you're looking at pictures of yourself and assessing your makeup, it's all about how you played with lights and shadows on your face beforehand. So I feel like that's good. You see how from afar you can tell the difference between this shade and this shade, but it doesn't look striking. Like, it doesn't look like, oh my gosh, she has a stripe of contour on her face. That's what you want to achieve. You don't want it to look striking. And if you wanted to, you could go back with that lighter side and kind of cut that in a little bit more to lift it. I didn't put more concealer on, I just kind of used a little bit of the residue. One of my favorite palettes for Soft Glam is this one from Juvia's Place. This is called the Warrior 2 palette. And then another one, if you like more like warm and a little bit of shimmer, this one from Dior. I keep this in my bag at all times. It's literally my favorite eyeshadow palette. I use this almost every day when I'm like not doing content, just for like my everyday life. This is Mista number 689. These two shades along the eye, I like to take it and just pop it straight from the brush. No primer on the eye. It's gonna look more soft because I don't have that primer on. It's gonna read a little bit softer. Versus if you want to bump it up a little bit more, definitely put on like a little bit of, you know those Urban Decay potions? The potion shadows, the MAC Cosmetics paint pots. You could put that on your lid like a nude shade and then build the depth around it. So I already had that contour shade and I'm just working in a little bit of more of a shadow shade, which I could use that other like cream that I put here, but I want this to stay in place a little bit better, so I'm using the powder. I'm definitely gonna save this. I think I might download it first and kind of edit out all of my talking so it's more like 15 minutes, but I'm gonna repost this to be played back. Have you ever thought about doing? So I used these two shades for that corner, right? And now I'm taking this shade alone, same brush, and just bringing up that warmer shade so it meets that contour shade that I already had there. That same warm shade, I'm just running it across the lash line. And notice that I didn't switch and use a bunch of brushes, so you can totally do this at home without having like 20 brushes for your eyes. This palette, this shade on my finger, and just pop it in the center to give me a little glow. And then I'm just gonna blend and soften that shimmery shade I just put on. This is a Shiseido micro ink liner to kind of tight line the eye and give it a little bit more definition. Outer corner, inner corner, and then also I'm gonna go over the lashes a little bit. I normally would do this before, but I just decided to put it on. So you see when I pull back, it just defines the shape of the eye a little bit more. That's kind of what you want to achieve, right? The two that I pulled. I think I'm gonna do this one just because it's shorter and a little bit fullness versus this one adding like a lot of length. I want to keep it kind of natural, so let's go with this one. This is number 52 from Ardell. Bam. Let's see. Nice. Okay, I'm gonna trim this a little bit. Trimmed it. This one does not have those little like dots on it where you can't trim it, because that was like the main complaint that I heard about magnetic lashes. Line it, lash it, adhesive. Okay, so it's like an eyeliner. Ooh. So normally I would put this on the lash, like glue. I would put it on the lash first, but I think I have to line my eyes with it first. So let's see if I can properly do that. So this is the brush for the magnetic juice, I'm gonna call it. The glue for the lash. Just gonna lightly put it on my lash line. I don't think you even have to put it across the entire thing. Just like dabbing it tightly at the lash line. The only drawback is you can't do a no liner situation with this look, with these lashes. I do this thing where I like bend the lash so it's more malleable before I put on my eye. That way it just pops on a little bit easier. I do like these little circles with it so it's not so stiff. I kind of want it to be the shape that my eye needs. So I feel like that's good. I'm gonna start in the center. Oh wow, that actually went on really easily. Then connect the end. not? Yo. That was so easy. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. Wow. I'm like really shocked at how easy that was. Okay, so this is the final look. We touched on soft glam, the common mistakes when trying to achieve a soft glam look and how we can fix those. We also did this beautiful lip off camera, so it will be on my reels in a few days. I used a ton of my favorite products in this video, so I will be linking them in stories in my shop list. Be sure to shop your favorite creators links, guys, because it's a small way that you can support them. But I am done and I will talk to you guys later.